What is good, YouTube, and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day, but as we all know, the Detroit Pistons for a while have been a very bad basketball team. Well, that has changed this year as this team is destined to make the playoffs. So with that, obviously they're not a contender this year. So I want to take the next steps to make them a contender. So let's go ahead and jump in and do this Detroit Pistons rebuild and talk about what could be next coming this offseason for the Detroit Pistons. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys drop a like on this one and subscribe if you're new to this channel. As always, greatly appreciated. YouTube tells me about 57% of the people that watch these videos aren't actually subscribed. So if you do fall in that 57%, want to change that as we're on the road to 50,000 subs, that would be greatly appreciated. But obviously, Cade Cunningham has been phenomenal for Detroit this year, and it's great to see that. He's had his injuries beforehand, but obviously he is exactly what they wanted when they drafted him, and it's awesome. But he doesn't necessarily have a second superstar next to him, at least not yet to this point. Jaden Ivey, of course, got hurt. I think there's a chance he's able to come back this season, but I know it was a very long injury. But with that all being said, we're going to simulate the rest of year one. We're going to see how this team finishes out. We can kind of talk about the next steps in the offseason to building a proper contender around Cade Cunningham. So hopefully we can find a co-star, because I think you need at least 2 stars to win a championship. And then we can hopefully build a good supporting cast around that duo that we form, whoever it may be. But all right, let's simulate the rest of year one. Let's see what happens. So Jokic wins MVP. Sar is your rookie of the year. Jonas Valanciunas is your 6th man. Giannis defensive player. Amen most improved. And Trae Young's clutch player. And Kenny Atkinson coach of the year. And Brandon Harrison is your executive. So here's your NBA first team. Cade Cunningham making it is awesome to see. 25 and a half, 5 rebounds, and then 8 assists. Great to see that. All NBA second team and all NBA third team. Offensive first team, all offensive second team, and here's your all rookie team, obviously, as well. So we are, in fact, in the playoffs as the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, which is great to see. We already saw Cade's stats, but outside of that, he had Jaden Ivey with 17 points per game, and he shot 39% from 3 this year, so that's great to see. So we could probably keep Jaden Ivey going forward, or we can, take the liberty of trading him in a superstar package, depending if there's somebody we like, and it has to include Jaden Ivey. But we'll kind of look at all options, obviously. Malik Beasley also having a great season, too, for Detroit. But do we win a playoff series is the question. So Indiana in round 1. Obviously, this will not be easy. They made it to the conference finals last year, and we'll see how it goes against them this time around. So somebody current round, and we will beat the Pacers at 6. So just like that, already a great step as we upset the Pacers around 1. It was a 4th, 5th seed matchup, but now we get to play Cleveland, which is obviously going to be a lot tougher, but I'm up for the challenge. So let's see if we can't beat the Cavs as well. And, ooh, okay, we lose in 6. I was hoping to stop it there to Simcast, but we didn't have a fast enough finger, I guess. And now we got Timberwolves, Nuggets, and then Cleveland and Knicks. So let's see who goes on to win the championship. Knicks, Wolves, and it will be the Timberwolves getting the best of the Knicks. Obviously, these two made the trade with each other before the season started. But yeah, Timberwolves go on and win it all in 7 games. Chris Paul is going to call it a career, and that's about it as far as the highlights of that. For the draft lottery, I don't believe we have a pick from anybody, but it's always good to double check. So do we even have our own pick this offseason? No, the Timberwolves have it. Okay. And then I think that's from like a previous trade. I'm pretty sure Minnesota got that from the Knicks. Now, I do not necessarily remember why the Knicks had the Pistons pick, to be honest with you, but not even going to pretend to try to remember that. It was like a trade, maybe Bogdan was involved or Bojan was involved in it. I don't know. But Bickerstaff will remain the head coach, obviously. So let's go to draft night. And I don't believe we have anybody else's pick, but let me just double check on that. So we have the 9th pick in the 2nd round. So we have Tobias Harris's expiring contract. We have a number of our other things, but I think we're just going to draft first. And then after player options, we can look at some options around the board about who we can maybe go for. So I'm going to take Catchings of the BYU to be the new Piston. 69 overall in the 2nd round. So we'll take him. Whoops. And then boom, player options, Duran, Sar, Ivy, and Sasser. So a ton of young pieces to make any type of move that we want. So it's time to figure out what that move will be. Obviously, we don't have cap space to sign anybody. There's not really anybody I want to sign in free agency anyway. I want to look at the idea of making a trade. And no positions off limits other than maybe the center, because Duran develops enough that I think I can rock with him going forward. But everything else is on the table. So shooting guard through power forward. If we could find our second co-star with one of those positions next to Cade, that would be amazing. That's my goal. So I kind of have a couple of ideas in mind, but I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I wanted to go for the same guys I always go for. I don't want to go for like, Laurie Mark. Well, not Laurie Marketing, but like Zion Williamson, or I got Jaren Jackson the other day in the, what was it? The Rock? No, it was the, I can't remember what video it was now, but We got Jaren Jackson the other day to pair with, oh, it was on the Bulls. That's right. So I wanted to try to trade for somebody I don't get that often, and it might seem a little crazy and unrealistic. But one guy I was looking at was Jaylen Brown. I think that'd be a lot would have to happen for this to even remotely be a situation where the Celtics would be okay with trading him. It would be cool to try to get Jaylen Brown, but I doubt we could pull that off. But it would be a different guy I don't often trade for, which is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get somebody I don't often trade for to kind of change it up a little bit and not go for the same exact players all the time. So, for realism. But the other option that I have that I think might be a little bit more realistic than Jaylen Brown, but probably still not as much, is Atlanta with Jalen Johnson. I'm going to, well, I guess he's injured right now, but kind of like the idea of seeing if we can bring in Jalen Johnson to be the second star next to Cade Cunningham going forward. Now, I don't know if the Hawks would be down to do that because obviously they just paid him, and who knows what the Hawks are about to do. They're not looking to tear things down because they don't have their draft picks. But for whatever reason, if they did trade Trae Young, which is definitely possible this offseason based off Chris Haynes reporting, but if they traded Trae Young and they also, of course, went straight to just resetting things and somehow got their picks back, or I don't even know if they'd be able to do that, but they somehow find a way to do that. It would be intriguing to see if we could get Jalen Johnson on this team. So again, it's not the most realistic idea, but it is different from what I usually do, which is why I want to try this. So Jalen Johnson, we're going to see if we can't snag him to pair with Cade Cunningham going forward. So Jalen Johnson and Cade as a duo definitely intrigues me. Both 23 years old, which is why I also like it. So we can offer them Ron Holland as well. So Tobias Harris, Ron Holland. We're going to have to give up something to make this happy. Or make it happen. Bobby, a 2026, and then a 2028. So something along the lines of this for Jalen Johnson. Would they do this is the question. They should go through in 2K, but if Atlanta's going to trade Jalen Johnson, who's a 23-year-old, it's going to cost quite a bit, obviously. So this is the trade I'm offering them, and they do agree. So we get Jalen Johnson as the second star next to Cade going forward, which is awesome. So I love that. And then Jaden Ivey's only going to keep developing. Same thing, Asar Thompson. Asar Thompson could be kind of that support player, which is what we want. Everyone else can kind of score the basketball, which is awesome. So now Cade Sasser, Jaden Ivey, Asar Fantakio, Jalen Johnson, and then Duran and Isaiah Stewart. I'm still okay with trading Isaiah Stewart as well if we need it, but I think we can bring back Malik Beasley. He was really good for us last year. We actually have some cap room now, so I'm going to bring Malik Beasley back on a 3-year deal. He was pretty damn good off the bench for us. Although, do we want to spend this money elsewhere? Because we might have enough scoring across the board that we don't really need him here. I don't know. Maybe we should still bring him back. He was so good that I think letting him walk would be kind of unfortunate. And now as far as the backup 5 is concerned, we do have the money for somebody here as well. So there's Drummond who can bring to Detroit, back to Detroit. We can go for Naz Reid, go for Capella. Kind of like the idea of getting Capella off the bench. If we can get both Malik Beasley and Capella off the bench, I think that'd be pretty solid. Let's see, some Beasley and Capella. Do we get both of them? And we will. So just like that, that gives Cade a little bit of a really good bench, which I like. So that's already a great start. So Ivy and Beasley will continue their shooting guard rotation. And then we'll have Capella, and we can move Isaiah Stewart to power forward more. So let's do that right now. So he can slide down to the 4. Still can play some backup center at times. But yeah, I like that. So now we can go to player progression, and let's see what it looks like. So already swinging big, trying to give Cade somebody to work with going forward, and Jalen Johnson could absolutely be that for us. Beasley does already regress, so his contract could be used in the future. Sasser is up, and then so is Isaiah Stewart. So that's all great. Asar's up to an 84. But now let's go look at the rotation for year number 2. Just won a playoff series, and obviously looking to maybe take a next step in this second season coming. They're moving this system to a balanced system because it goes up to 3.5 rather than the defense that Bickerstaff was running. So here is the proficiency now with 3.5. And here's your brand new starting 5. So now you have Cade, Ivy, Asar, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duran, Capella, Malik Beasley, Isaiah Stewart, and then you got Marcus Sasser all off the bench. So that looks really good. I like that rotation quite a bit. The only other thing I want to look at is the shot tendency. So obviously Cade's going to score quite a bit, but I want Jalen Johnson to be that second scorer for us. We brought him in for a reason. I want him to reflect that. So I want him to become a second star here in Detroit if possible. So I'm going to give him a pretty good touch and shot tendency to see what that would do. So I will see you guys at the end of year 2. I'm expecting things to be much better than they were last year, and last year was good. So obviously this year we're expecting a better record, a higher seed. So far we're off to a little bit of a rough start, but I assume things will turn around eventually. And I'll see you guys at the end of year number 2. Jokic wins MVP. Flag is Rookie of the Year for the Miami Heat. Josh Giddey, 6th man in Golden State. Wemby, Defensive Player, and Scoots, Most Improved, and Devin Booker, Clutch Player, and Marcus, your Coach of the Year, and Riley Young is your Executive. So, as you guys can see, things went well, 57-25. So, we started off kind of rough, but things did turn up as Cade this time makes an All-NBA second team, but his scoring went up. I'm curious to see how Jalen Johnson did as the second guy for us, but I'm expecting good things. So first in the East, which was awesome. We went 57-25, I guess we're on a 1-game losing streak, and we lost 5 of our last 10, but won 5, of course, so 5-5. So here are your player stats. He had 28 from Cade, and then a 19 from Jalen Johnson, 16 from Jaden Ivey, so not too shabby, which is great. So we wanted someone to step up, and Jalen Johnson has done that for us, and that's what we wanted. So we have a pairing with him and Jalen Johnson going forward. Ivy will be re-signed as well this offseason. 35% from 3, 16 points per game. Duren with 12 and 9, a block, and then Malik Beasley 10 off the bench and 10 from Sasser. So in round 1, we draw the Philadelphia 76ers. So this is where we could probably end the process. Like if the 76ers lost here, I think it's safe to say that the process is officially over. So let's somebody come around against them. I guess we're going game by game here instead. So they even the series. Game 3 goes to us. Game 4 goes to us, and the process is over. Go trade Embiid. Toronto Raptors and Detroit in the second round. So obviously Toronto always ends up being a really good team as well. Detroit always has success in Sim too, so I'm not too surprised that we're already good. But let's go. Game 1 goes to us. Good start. Game 2 goes to us. If we can sweep the Raptors, which I might have been speaking too soon, but a 5-game win. Can we win in 6? Yes, we can. All right, so just like that, we do take the next step and make it to the conference finals, which is awesome. Now, do we beat the Knicks to get to the finals? That was the question. That's going to be a tough test. Game 1 goes to us. Good start. Game 2, 2-0. Game 3, Game 4, they even the series. Okay, let's start simcasting Game 5. So, at home in Detroit, let's see if we can beat the Knicks here and get to the finals. That'll be awesome. We can get that in year number 2. And we will barely hang on at 104-105 as Capella was our leading scorer in Game 6, which is interesting. So now... in Game 5. But now it's time for Game 6. This time we have to go on the road in Madison Square Garden. Let's see if we can beat them here to get to the NBA Finals. And it looks like we're going to sweep or blow them out. So New York Knicks did not come to play Game 6. And Cade is going to have his normal game, unlike last one. And we had 17 from Beasley, 17 from Johnson. And we've already made the NBA Finals. But do we win a championship this early, though, is the question. We've had some success, man, in the year number 2. Yesterday, we won a championship with the Kings in, like, year 2 is wild. Now we're going to play Dallas, who has Kyrie, Anthony Davis, Max Christie. We know the Mavericks are usually really good in the sim, so it would not surprise me at all if we got to this point just to lose. So Game 1 goes to them. Game 2, okay, it's going south fast. So we got to come back from 3-0 if we want any chance to have a shot at winning a championship here, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So we're going to get swept by the Mavericks, unless if we get a win here, which we do not. So yeah, swept by the Mavericks in the finals. It's great that we got there, but obviously getting swept there is brutal. That's not great. So that sucks. Championship in year 2 will not be happening, but it's great that we got there, but more work to be done. So draft picks will be fixed like usual, and then we can figure out the next step for us. But obviously we won't have a pick this offseason because we traded it for Jalen Johnson. So no draft picks in this draft whatsoever, so we're just going straight to player options. We'll accept catchings, and I got to figure out if there's anything we're going to do this offseason. Other than, of course, resign Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey will be busy in that department. So let's see. So they're both restricted free agents. I do think both of them are obviously have their necessary need to come back. So we're going to renounce everyone else. We're not going to renounce Ivy. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would we do that? So we won't renounce Jaden Ivey because if nothing else, we can always trade Jaden Ivey if we want to get rid of him. But at this point, don't really have any plans to get rid of him right now, but 2K wants me to get rid of him for some reason. So Duren's getting an offer sheet from the Suns, which of course we will match. So that is done deal there. So he's going to be back on a 3-year deal, which is fine. And then Jaden Ivey, I guess we should just take care of this before I accidentally renounce him. So I think 25 seems fair for him. So let's see if he'll take that. So boom, he will. So 25 per year doesn't sound too shabby for Jaden Ivey, and he will sign that. So that's a done deal. And now we have money to bring in another player if we so choose. So let's see, do we want to? So Sasser is up to 78 at this point. Might go up even more, but I got him in the Kings video yesterday, and he didn't go up at all. Capella is older, but I think we can rely on him for one more year. So I think if anything were to happen, be at the deadline, but we might as well sign somebody at the small forward spot as well because there's some good options here. So like Justin Edwards, who's restricted. What did he do last year? Didn't play much. De Silva is interesting, 33% from 3. Would prefer to get a knockdown shooter here if possible. Aravia, 36%. Sadiq Bey, 36%. I know Sadiq Bey used to play for Detroit, so let's have a reunion with Sadiq Bey. Why not? If nothing else, we can use this contract at the deadline, so I like that addition. And boom, so that's our offseason. Saddiq Bey is the new addition, even though he used to be in Detroit once upon a time. So Capella actually is up, so is Ivy. So the whole roster is developing, which is what we want to see, obviously. Even Sasser is up to 79. Saddiq Bey stayed the same overall, which is fine. So he'll probably only play when needed, unless we run a 10-man rotation, which we probably will because we paid him $10 million per year. So having someone sit on the bench making $10 million, it's probably not the most ideal situation. So we'll run a 10-man rotation, and then we'll look at the rotation, and then we'll kind of evaluate if there's a move to be made at the deadline. I probably will make one because then we can use Beasley and Saddiq Bey's contract to really do something awesome for this team. The rotation basically stays the same other than we're running 10 deep, so Bey gets minutes as well. So we'll kind of see how things are going by the deadline. I also need to check if we're over the second apron. We probably are. So yeah, I mean, it'd be close. I know the number's going to keep going up, so we're like 3 years in the future. I'm going to say we're barely over it right now if I had to guess, because it's 180, or it was 180 in real life. So maybe if you just said it goes up every 10 million, we'd probably be barely over it. So I don't even know how far we are into the future at this point. So 2026, it's kind of hard to do the math in my head. But I'm just going to pretend we are over the second apron, I guess. And we'll kind of evaluate if a move is needed to be made at the deadline. But maybe we don't feel like there's anything that needs to be done, because so far we're off to an 8-1 start. So maybe we won't do anything. Maybe we will. It all depends. I'll show you at the deadline if we do something. So we are at the deadline, as we're a good team right now, but there's a couple of interesting options here to make if we want to do it. And this one definitely has my attention, where we get Herb Jones off the Pelicans. Obviously, this would be a fair, legal, under the second apron trade, because we're not taking back more money than we're absorbing at this point. So I guess actually Chuma Okeke might be okay. So we don't need Chuma Okeke in the trade, but Malik Beasley for Herb Jones and a unprotected first-round pick. Would the Pelicans do this? I don't know why they would, but we're gonna do it anyway. And they do agree. So we bring in Herb Jones, which I like that. So Herb Jones could be our new backup small forward, which obviously makes Saddiq Bey redundant. But I think you got to do it because Herb Jones goes up to a damn 86 overall. So I'm hoping that's like the final move to winning a championship. But I think Herb Jones will be awesome. He'll start. Asar goes onto the bench, and that's going to make this team that much better. So yeah, that to me felt like a no-brainer. We can kick Saddiq Bey out of the rotation. In fact, we could probably trade him away and maybe get something in return, because I'll keep him just in case we need him, because somebody fouls out. Probably help out championship chances. So Herb Jones, a new addition at the deadline. I love it. Hopefully it results in a championship, but we shall find out. Jokic is your MVP. Aged Banza, Rookie of the Year. Boozer's your 6-man women defensive player. Casper is your most improved, and Edwards your clutch player, and Steve Kerr, Coach of the Year, and Alexander Pennell is your executive. So here's your NBA first team, all NBA second team, and all NBA third team, all defensive first team, and all defensive second team. All rookie teams, which of course doesn't matter for us. Did Cade not make an all NBA team this year? I wasn't really paying attention. So might be his first time he was. I didn't see his name, I didn't think. But no, so we do not see Cade on any of these teams, unfortunately. But we are the second seed in the East, so maybe winning a championship would be better than any of that anyway. But it's probably because, you know, Ivy has stepped up. Jalen Johnson's been good, and then 12 from Jalen Duren. 10.5 from Sasser, 9 from Asar, 8 from Capella, 7 from Stewart, and 7 from Herb Jones. So without further ado, obviously the hope is this year we bring a championship to Detroit. We shall see. So in round 1, we draw the Knicks, who we did beat last year, but I don't really love the idea of facing the Knicks again, but I guess it doesn't matter. We beat them. And now we get to play the Toronto Raptors. We beat, and I think we beat them in like 5 last year, and we're sweeping everyone so far. We sweep the Atlanta Hawks, too, who we stole, obviously, Jalen Johnson from them earlier, and now they have Damian Lillard in the backcourt. So oh my gosh, I meant to stop it on a game 7, and we lose. Mavericks and Hawks. So Hawks are in the finals, and they win a damn championship. So Damian Lillard gets a ring with the Atlanta Hawks. Wow, that's wild. So that is unfortunate, because we were in game 7, and I could have simcasted it. I could have gone differently, but I was not fast enough. It's all good, though. We can run another season back. I feel confident in the lineup that we have. I think with just another season, things will eventually swing our way. But we've gotten to the conference finals twice now, so I'm going to stick with Bickerstaff. He's got 1 year left of his contract, so I guess worst case scenario, we move on from him if needed. But Sasser and Asar are free agents, so the team is about to get even more expensive. We'll bring Sasser back, and we'll bring Asar back, because we're all in on trying to win a championship. Capella is also a free agent, so that's definitely something to look to. But we could just trade for a new center unless we're going to bring Capella back. But might look at the idea of just trading for a new 5 who's younger. So Stewart and, well, I don't think we can combine anything. We only have one first to maybe throw in here. So give me any type of backup 5, potentially, hopefully. Not Mo Wagner, not Russell, no Joe Behringer either. Devin Carter, Rui Hachimura. Somebody offer me a good backup 5, please. Aldama, Washington, Iguodaro, Keon Ellis, Moses Moody. I did not get that offer that I wanted. Okay, let's go see if there's a center. Are we over the second apron? Let me double check that. Are we still under or over 230? Yeah, we're definitely over now. Okay, so let's stick with the key of trying to stay under 15 million. So let's go look at center, and then let's look at someone making less than $15 million and see if there is something like that available to us. So 15.5. So we have Donovan Clingan, who's making under that right now. He could be actually a really good addition. Might even start for us if we did that. And then there's Missy. Let's see if we get Donovan Clingan. Why not? So Donovan Clingan could be a really interesting get if we're able to pull this off. It's not going to be easy to do. Let's throw this 20-30 pick, and let's just throw like as many seconds at them as possible. We could even throw our last first rounder in here too if we wanted to. I'm going to do it. I'm all in, man. I'm all in on trying to win a championship, and they don't agree to it anyway. So maybe that's not going to work. We can go look at the idea of Missy instead and not do Stewart. Let's say we threw in Keon Anthony instead, and let's go talk to the Pelicans about Missy's Missy or whatever, however you say his name. Keon Anthony, and let's say we threw a first in there, and they don't agree that. Actually, Keon Anthony doesn't even make enough money for this. Or, yeah, because we can't bring up more money than we're sending out. So Bay, can they take that? No, they can't. Well, unless we move the, no, they can't. Okay. It's not gonna work. All right, I don't really see anything. So maybe bringing Capella back would be our best interest, or maybe we have to wait till the deadline to do anything about it. So maybe we can just move Stewart back to the 5, and at the deadline we trade for a 5, and that could be the final move for this next up and coming season, which I'm gonna try to make the last season. So because that's been 2 finals appearances in a row, or close to finals appearances in a row. But things are developing nicely. We just need to move Stewart to center now because you'll have to play that role. And then we can move, we can make a move at the deadline with his contract or somebody else's to hopefully bring in a different 5-man. But we shall see. I'll see you guys at the deadline rather than the rotation because the rotation obviously isn't changing much. But hopefully we can make that final move to complete this team. So center options at the deadline are obviously some young ones on their rookie contracts, which would be a little bit harder to pull off. Or we can go for Capella again, or we can go get like Robert Williams, which I'm intrigued by the idea of that. So let's see if we can't do a Stewart for Robert Williams swap at this point. And let's say I have so many damn 2028 second round picks, it's not even funny. So I'm going to try to just throw a boatload of them at the Lakers, see what they do with it. They say no. What about another one? And they agreed. So all it took was like all the second round picks I had, which I had so many that I don't really care. So Robert Williams is the final piece of the project. Does this result in a championship? We shall find out. 38-15 on the season right now. I just like Robert Williams' role more than I like Stewart's role, but we'll see if it works out that way. Hopefully this team can bring it home in this final season. So in conclusion, we are the second seed in the East once again. Got to the conference finals twice already, and obviously looking for a 3rd time in a row. We made it to the finals once already, and we're looking to do that again. So Jalen Johnson has stepped up big time. Not efficient from 3, really, but Cade, of course, is at least. And then Ivy has been good at 39% there as well. So let's see if we can't beat the entire East to get back to the finals. Now, we do draw Cooper Flag in the Miami Heat in round 1, so it does sound terrifying. Let's see if we can't beat them, and who cares about Cooper Flag? We sweep them. And now we can play Charlotte, who has AJ DeBanza, LaMelo, so this one, and Will Riley, and Brendan Miller. So that's going to be a little bit tougher, but so far, so good. Can we go? Nope, it's going to be even serious. We got to win Game 5 if we can, so let's see if we can't win Game 5 at home, because losing this one would be very tough to come back from. But thankfully, we get back in it, and can we hang on to it? We will. 121-30. Now for Game 6 on the road. Looking to get back to the conference finals for a 3rd time in a row, but Charlotte might be forcing us to a Game 7 unless if we go on a run here, which we've gotten close. We still at the end. No, we do not. So Game 7 in Detroit. Can we take care of business and go to the conference finals again? Be relatively close, but it looks like we might be running away with it. Do we hang on to the lead? Gonna be close. Yes, we're hanging on. So we're going to the conference finals. Jalen Johnson comes up big time, 10-13 from 3, 45 points, Cade with 30, and now we have to play Cleveland, Bickerstaff's former team, who I think we beat earlier if I remember correctly. They brought in RJ Barrett as well on a minimum, which is wild. So that's a good team that we have in front of us as they win Game 1. We even the series. Game 3 goes to us. Game 4 goes to them. Game 5, let's simcast. I was thinking about clicking someone through a game, but Let's see if we can simcast and win for game 5 to get back to the finals. And we will have a close one on our hands, but we will hang. Oh my goodness, what just happened at the end there? Oh, wow, that's brutal. So Jalen Duren, Mitchell hit a game winner on us, it seemed like. So that is unfortunate. Duren had an offensive foul in the last possession. Well, we got to win game 6 to force a game 7. So let's see if we can do that on the road. That was a heartbreaking loss. It looked like we had the win secured, and they came back and made it happen. Don't let them do that again here, please. We will be going to a game 7. So team stays alive, and now for a game 7 in Detroit. Can we blow them out this time and not worry about a close one for where they steal it from us? But no, so far it's been close, but it looks like we're starting to run away with it, and we are going back to the finals. So 92-101, 49, 24, and 15, and we'll see who's awaiting us. It'll be the Spurs, of course. So Wembanyama and the Spurs. We still have, they don't have Fox anymore. I feel like they always get rid of Fox, which is interesting. They have Sexton, Caspers, Castle, Vassell, Murray, Wemby, Darius. Okay. Game 1 goes to us. Game 2 goes to us. San Antonio stands no chance so far, and we'll beat them in 5. Let's go. I was like, man, I'm feeling pretty confident with how that was going, and we won a championship to end it off. So 2 game 7 wins and a game 5 victory to get us a championship. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'm very excited to see what Detroit does in the offseason to potentially get a second piece to pair with Cade. Should be interesting, but thank y'all for watching. This is Crushables. I'm saying peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you click here to watch another video that I know you'll love.